Lieutenant stood in the observation deck of the USS Horizon and watched the massive space station grow larger in the viewport. Nexus Prime was huge, maybe 10 times the size of any human station she had ever seen. Lights flickered across its surface like a small city floating in the darkness of space. Nervous, Commander Lewis Grant asked from behind her. Turned and shook her head. "No, sir, just curious about what we're walking into." Grant smiled a little. The Galactic Combat Exhibition, think of it as a cultural show. Different species bring their best warriors to demonstrate their fighting styles. It's supposed to build understanding between civilizations. Supposed to, raised an eyebrow. Well, it mostly turns into a competition. Pride gets involved, you know how it goes. Grant handed her a data pad. "We're attending as observers. The brass wants humanity to make a good impression. Smile, be polite, and try not to start any wars." Laughed, at 5 feet 2 inches tall and barely 120 pounds, she was not exactly intimidating. Most people back on Earth thought she was too small to be a Marine. The recruitment officer had actually told her to try the Navy instead, but had grown up on Mining Colony 7, where the gravity was almost twice Earth normal. She had spent her childhood hauling ore beside her 4 older brothers. Size did not matter much when you were strong enough to carry your own weight and then some. The docking procedure took another hour. When they finally stepped onto Nexus Prime, felt the difference immediately. The gravity here was lighter than Earth, maybe 70%. She felt like she could jump twice as high without even trying. The station was crowded with aliens of every shape and size. Some walked on 2 legs like humans. Others had 4, 6, or even 8 limbs. One creature floated past using some kind of biological gas sac. Tried not to stare, but everything was so new and strange. Grant led their small delegation through the winding corridors. Sergeant Danny walked beside, looking around with wide eyes. "This is wild," he whispered. "I feel like I'm in a movie." "Stay focused," whispered back, but she was thinking the same thing. The arena was enormous. Thousands of seats ringed a central fighting floor that looked like it could change configuration. Current displays showed it was set to a basic flat surface with some kind of energy barrier around the edges. Alien spectators filled most of the seats, their voices creating a strange mixture of sounds that hurts ears. The human delegation took their assigned seats in the diplomatic section. Ambassador Hayes was already there, talking with a tall alien that clicked when it spoke. She nodded to Grant, but kept her attention on the conversation. "The exhibition is about to start," Grant said quietly. "Just watch and learn. This is all new territory for humanity." The lights dimmed. A holographic announcer appeared above the arena floor, speaking in a language did not understand, but her translator earpiece kicked in a moment later. "Welcome to the 347th Galactic Combat Exhibition. Today, warriors from across known space will demonstrate the proud fighting traditions of their people." The crowd roared, felt the sound vibrate through her chest. One by one, champions entered the arena. A crystalline being that refracted light in beautiful patterns. A heavily armored quadruped that moved like a tank. A slender blue humanoid that seemed to flicker in and out of visibility. Each one performed a brief demonstration of their skills while the announcer explained their species and home world. Then came the champion. War Master was massive. He stood at least 12 feet tall, with 4 arms that ended in clawed hands. Bioengineered armor plating covered his body in overlapping sections that gleamed under the arena lights. His species had clearly modified themselves for combat over many generations. Muscles rippled beneath gray skin as he walked to the center of the arena. The crowd's reaction was different for. There was respect in their noise, maybe even fear. The announcer spoke with reverence. "War Master of the Empire, victor of 237 combat trials, champion of the Eastern Spiral conflicts, undefeated in single combat for 15 cycles." Raised all 4 arms and roared. The sound was deafening even through the arena's sound-dampening fields. He then turned toward the diplomatic section and spoke in a booming voice. "I see many species here today, warriors with honor and strength." His eyes, all 3 of them, scanned the crowd, then they landed on the human delegation. "But I also see humans." The way he said it made his jaw tighten. There was mockery in his tone. Laughed, a harsh sound like grinding metal. "Humans, the soft creatures from the little blue world. I have read about your species. You have no armor plating, no natural weapons, no enhancements. You are weak prey pretending to be predators." Ambassador Hayes stood up slowly. Her voice was calm but firm. The human delegation is here to observe and learn, War Master. We came in peace and friendship. Peace, laughed again, and many in the crowd joined him. Of course you speak of peace. The weak always do. You have no warrior culture, no combat traditions worth showing. You should not even be here among true fighters. Felt tense beside her. Grant put a hand on his shoulder, warning him to stay calm, but was already standing. With respect, War Master, she said, her voice carrying clearly through the arena, you are wrong. The laughter died down, turned his full attention to her, his three eyes narrowing. What did you say, small one? I said you are wrong. Humans have warrior traditions. We have fought and survived for thousands of years. We have honor and strength. Walked down the steps toward the arena floor. She could feel everyone watching her. If you doubt this, I will demonstrate. The arena went silent. Even the translator system seemed shocked into stillness. Stared at her for a long moment. Then he began to laugh again, harder than before. He bent over, clutching his armored stomach with all four hands. You would face me? Look at yourself. You are barely half my height. You would break like a dry twig. Reached the arena floor and stood at the edge of the energy barrier. She was calm now, the way she always got before a fight. It was the same feeling she had in the mines when a support beam started to crack or when a piece of equipment failed. Focus. Assess. Act. I volunteer to represent humanity in the exhibition, she said formally. Ambassador Hayes looked like she wanted to object, but the crowd was already reacting. Aliens were chattering excitedly to each other. The announcer's hologram flickered with apparent confusion. Grant stood and spoke clearly. Lieutenant volunteers for the human demonstration. We accept the exhibition terms. Walked closer to the barrier, looking down at, even hunched over, he towered above her. This is ridiculous. I will not fight a child. It would be shameful. I am not a child. I am a Marine, met his eyes without flinching. And I am standing here volunteering unless the great War Master is afraid. That got him. His eyes flashed with anger. Afraid of you? Fine, we will have our demonstration, but I will show mercy to you, human. As charity to your primitive species, I will allow you to strike first. Hit me as hard as you can, then I will show you what real strength means. The arena officials quickly conferred and agreed to the match. The energy barrier adjusted to create a smaller fighting space. Stepped through and stood on the smooth floor. Her heart was beating fast, but her hands were steady. Called down from the stands, you sure about this? She looked up at her fellow Marines and nodded. Then she looked at Grant, who gave her a small nod of approval. Finally, she glanced at Ambassador Hayes, who looked worried but did not stop her. Turned back too, he was stretching his forearms, making a show of his size and strength for the crowd. He flexed his muscles, and his armor plates shifted with mechanical precision. Whenever you are ready, little human, he said with a mocking grin. Give me your best strike. I will stand here and let you try to hurt me, then we will see how long you last. Took a deep breath and moved into position. She had learned to fight in the mines where every movement mattered. Her father had taught her that size was nothing compared to technique and timing. Her brother had shown her how to put her whole body into a punch, using legs and core and shoulders together. She threw her first strike, a solid punch to his armored midsection. It connected with a dull thud. The armor held, did not even move. The crowd erupted in laughter, grinned down at her. Was that your best? I barely felt it. Perhaps humans are even weaker than I thought. Said nothing. She was studying the armor now, understanding how it flexed and where the seams were. She was calculating angles and force distribution. In the mines, you learned that the second swing was the one that mattered. The first swing found the crack. The second swing broke through. She adjusted her stance, setting her feet properly. She drew her arm back and focused on the exact same spot she had hit before. Every muscle in her body aligned for this single purpose. Try again if you wish, said, still grinning. He spread his forearms wide in a gesture of supreme confidence. Show me this human strength you speak of. Struck. The sound was different this time. Not a thud, but a crack that echoed through the entire arena. Eyes went wide. His armor, the bioengineered plating that had protected him through hundreds of battles, shattered. Pieces fell to the floor with metallic clinks. Stumbled backward, all four arms clutching his midsection. His mouth opened and closed, but no sound came out. Medical scanners above the arena began blaring alerts. The crowd sat in complete silence. No one laughed now. No one made any sound at all. Lowered her fist and waited. Her knuckles hurt, but she did not show it. She just stood there, looking up at the War Master who had called her species weak. The announcer's hologram finally found words. Medical scan confirms War Master has sustained significant impact trauma, 3 fractured ribs, armor integrity compromised. How is this possible? The medical team rushed onto the arena floor within seconds. They were a mixed group of different species, all wearing the same white and blue uniforms. One of them, a being with 6 delicate arms and large eyes, waved a scanning device over his chest. "The damage is real," the medic announced in a high voice. 3 ribs fractured, soft tissue bruising, possible internal bleeding. This warrior needs immediate treatment. Stepped back to give them room. Her hand was throbbing now, but she kept her face calm. She had learned long ago not to show pain in front of others. In the mines, if you showed weakness, you got the worst jobs. Pushed the medics away with 2 of his arms. "I do not need help, I can stand." He forced himself upright, though his breathing was labored, his 3 eyes fixed on with an expression she could not quite read. "What are you?" "Human," said simply, "just human." "That is not possible. No creature your size should have that much force. You must have hidden enhancements, cybernetics, something." Looked at the arena officials. "I demand a full scan of this fighter. She must have cheated." The head official, a floating jellyfish-like being with glowing tentacles, drifted down to the arena floor. Its voice came through a translator box. "The scan is already complete. We monitor all participants continuously for exactly such concerns. The human has no artificial enhancements, no hidden weapons, no prohibited technology. She is, as she claims, entirely natural." A wave of shocked murmuring ran through the crowd. Saw aliens turning to each other, their various forms of communication creating a strange symphony of clicks, whistles, and words. Commander Grant came down to the arena floor, moving through the barrier with an official's permission. He stood beside and addressed the crowd with military precision. "Ladies and honored beings of all designations," he began. "I understand there is confusion about what just occurred. Allow me to provide context about human physiology." A holographic display appeared above the arena, showing an image of Earth. Grant continued speaking while images flashed across the screen. "Humans evolved on a planet we call Earth. By galactic standards, Earth is what many of you would classify as a high-gravity death world. Our gravity is approximately 1.0 on the standard scale. Most spacefaring species evolved in environments ranging from 0.6 to 0.8. The images changed to show human evolution, from early primates to modern humans. For millions of years, our ancestors survived in this heavy gravity environment. We developed dense bones, powerful muscles, and efficient cardiovascular systems. We also evolved as persistence hunters, capable of running prey to exhaustion over long distances. Our bodies are built for endurance and impact resistance." Watch the crowd's reactions. Some aliens looked fascinated. Others appeared disturbed. A few seemed to be recalculating something in their heads. Grant gestured to. "Lieutenant, however, is not even a baseline human in terms of strength. She grew up on mining Colony 7, which maintains 1.8 Earth gravity. She has been training in high-gravity conditions since childhood. What you just witnessed is the result of that environment combined with her military training." A tall alien with blue skin and elaborate head crest stood up in the diplomatic section. His translator identified the language as, "Are you saying that all humans possess this strength, that your entire species is this dangerous?" Grant considered the question carefully. Not all humans are trained fighters, but yes, the average human is considerably stronger than we believe most species realize. We simply have not had much opportunity to demonstrate this in diplomatic settings. Was still staring at, the medics had applied some kind of healing gel to his chest, and his breathing was easier now. "You could have struck anywhere. Why did you hit the same spot twice?" Met his eyes. "Because that is how you break things. The first hit finds the weakness. The second hit exploits it. My father taught me that when I was 7 years old working the mining equipment." Something changed in his expression. It might have been respect, or at least the beginning of it. "You are a miner's daughter. That is your warrior tradition." "We do not call it warrior tradition. We call it survival. On Earth, you work hard or you do not eat. In the mines, you learn fast or you die. Same principle, different words." An alien had not noticed before stood up in the crowd. It was massive, easily 15 feet tall, with rocky skin and eyes that glowed like embers. Its voice was like an avalanche. "I am Battle Chief of the Granite Clans. I wish to test this human strength myself. Will you face me, small warrior?" Before could answer, 3 more aliens stood up, each from different species. They all made similar challenges. The arena dissolved into chaos as more voices joined in, some challenging, some protesting, some simply asking questions. The head official's tentacles flashed bright red. "Order, we will have order in this arena." The noise died down gradually. "The combat exhibition has specific schedules and protocols. We cannot simply allow random challenges. However," the being paused, its tentacles swirling in thought, "given the extraordinary circumstances and the clear diplomatic interest, I propose we extend the exhibition. We can schedule additional demonstrations over the next several days." Ambassador Hayes stood up. The human delegation would need to discuss this proposal before agreeing to anything. "Of course," the official agreed. "We will adjourn for now. Medical teams will continue treating War Master. All parties can meet this evening to discuss future arrangements." The crowd began to disperse slowly, though many aliens lingered to stare at. She felt uncomfortable with all the attention. This was not what she had expected when she volunteered. "Stop the medics from leading him away." He walked over to, moving stiffly but under his own power. All 4 of his hands were empty, held at his sides in what guessed was a non-threatening gesture. "I mocked you," he said quietly. "I called your species weak and primitive. I was wrong." Nodded, "Yes, you were. Among my people, when a warrior is proven wrong in such a manner, they owe a debt. I owe you truth and respect." 3 eyes studied her face. "You struck with precision and control. You could have aimed for my head or throat. You could have tried to kill me, but you chose a non-lethal target. The rules said this was an exhibition, not a death match. I follow the rules. Many warriors would not have shown such restraint. You have honor to match your strength." Placed all 4 hands over his chest in what looked like a salute. "I, War Master, acknowledge of Earth as a true warrior. Your species has earned the right to stand among the fighters of the galaxy." The medics were getting impatient, gesturing for to come with them. He nodded to 1 more time, then allowed himself to be led away. Sergeant appeared at his side, grinning like a fool. "That was the most amazing thing I have ever seen. Did you see his face when his armor cracked? I thought his eyes were going to pop out of his head." "Easy, Sergeant," Grant said, but he was smiling too. "Let's get back to the ship. We have a lot to discuss." The walk back through the station was different from before. Aliens stopped to watch them pass. Some pointed. Some took what assumed were pictures or videos. A few even bowed or made gestures that might have been signs of respect. Back aboard the USS Horizon, finally allowed herself to relax. She went straight to the medical bay where Dr. Helen Brooks examined her hand. "Bruised knuckles, some swelling, minor tissue damage," Brooks said while running her scanner. "Nothing serious. You will be fine in a couple days." She looked up with curiosity. "What did it feel like hitting that armor?" "Like hitting a rock wall," admitted. "But I have hit plenty of those in the mines. You learn how to punch through pain." Brooks shook her head in amazement. "The whole ship is talking about what you did. You are famous now, you know that." Groaned, "I did not want to be famous. I just wanted to defend humanity's honor." "Well, you did that and then some." Brooks finished wrapping his hand in a light bandage. "The ambassador wants to see you in an hour. Conference room 3. Try to get some rest before then." Went to her quarters and sat on her bunk. She pulled out her personal comm device and stared at it for a moment before activating the long-range function. The connection took several minutes to establish across the vast distance between Nexus Prime and Mining Colony 7. Her brother's face appeared on the screen, dirty from a shift in the mines. "What is wrong? You never called during work hours." "Nothing is wrong, I needed to hear a familiar voice," smiled at him. "Remember when you taught me how to punch properly, when I was 8 and that older kid was bullying me?" Grinned, "Sure, I told you to hit twice in the same spot. Why?" "I used that today. It worked really well." "Good, that is what I like to hear. Some people giving you trouble out there in space." Laughed, "Something like that. I will explain later. How is everyone?" They talked for a few more minutes about normal things. The mine production numbers. Their sister's new baby. Their father's upcoming birthday. It made feel grounded again, remembering where she came from and who she was beyond this moment of strange fame. When the call ended, had 40 minutes before the meeting. She used the time to shower and change into a fresh uniform. Her hands still hurt, but the pain was manageable. The conference room was already full when she arrived. Ambassador Hayes sat at the head of the table. Commander Grant was there, along with the ship's captain, several diplomatic staff, and intelligence officer Lieutenant Tors. "Lieutenant, please sit," Hayes said, gesturing to an empty chair. "We have much to discuss. What you did today has created significant ripples in the diplomatic community. We have received 17 formal communications in the past 2 hours alone." Tors pulled up a display screen. 3 species have requested military training exchanges. 5 want to establish formal defense partnerships with humanity. 4 are inquiring about hearing human security contractors. 2 are asking if Earth is planning military expansion. And 3 have quietly moved their ships further away from human space. Stared at the screen, all because I punched someone. All because you demonstrated that humanity is far more physically capable than anyone realized, Hayes corrected. For years, we have been seen as the new species, curious but weak, good at technology but not dangerous. You changed that perception in about 5 seconds. Grant leaned forward. The question now is what we do next. The arena officials want to continue the exhibition. Multiple champions want to test themselves against you. This could be a significant opportunity for humanity to establish ourselves as a species to be taken seriously. Or it could make us look like violent brutes, one of the diplomatic staff countered. We need to be careful about the image we project. The debate continued for another hour. Mostly listened, feeling overwhelmed by the political complexities. Finally, Hayes turned to her directly. "Lieutenant, this is ultimately your decision. You are the one who would be fighting. Are you willing to continue with additional exhibition matches?" Thought about's final words, about honor and respect, about how he had acknowledged her as a warrior only after she proved herself. Maybe that was how things worked out here among the stars. Maybe humanity needed to prove itself the same way. "I will do it," said, "but only under proper rules, non-lethal combat, regulated conditions. I am a Marine, not a gladiator." Hayes nodded slowly. "That is acceptable. We will negotiate terms with the arena officials." She looked around the table. "This is a new chapter for humanity's presence in galactic society. Let us make sure we write it well." The meeting adjourned. As left the conference room, Tors caught up with her in the corridor. "I am going to be compiling information on the species whose champions have challenged you," Tors said. "Fighting styles, physical capabilities, cultural contexts, anything that might help you prepare." "Thank you," said. "I appreciate that." Tors hesitated, then spoke more quietly. "My daughter is 7. She wants to be a Marine someday like you. What you did today. You showed her that size does not matter, that strength comes in different forms. Thank you for that." Felt a lump in her throat. "Just doing my job, Lieutenant." "No," Tors said with a slight smile. "You did much more than that." Arena was packed the next day. Could see that attendance had more than tripled from the day before. Aliens filled every available seat, and some were even floating in designated viewing areas above the stands. The air hummed with excited energy and dozens of different languages mixing together. Stood in the preparation area beneath the arena floor, going through her warm-up routine. Sergeant stood nearby, watching her movements with a critical eye. "Your footwork looks good," he said. "How is the hand?" Flexed her fingers. The swelling had gone down overnight thanks to the medical treatment. "Good enough. Dr. Brooks cleared me for today." "Good, because from what intel says, this guy is not going to hold back this time." Crossed his arms. "You embarrassed him yesterday. He is going to come at you hard." Nodded. She had expected as much. Yesterday had been about theater and mockery. Today would be about real fighting. She finished her stretches and stood up straight. "I am ready." Lieutenant Tors entered the preparation room carrying a data pad. Got the full breakdown on fighting techniques. They use their forearms in coordinated attacks, trying to overwhelm opponents from multiple angles. They are strong but not particularly fast. Their armor repairs itself slowly over time, so the damage you did yesterday is only about 60% healed. "Weaknesses?" asked. "Their joints. The armor plating does not cover the areas where their arms connect to their torso. Also, their 3 eyes give them wide vision, but they have a small blind spot directly behind their head." Tors handed the data pad to. "I also pulled up some training footage from their military exercises. Might help you understand their rhythm." Spent the next 20 minutes studying the footage. She watched how warriors moved, how they distributed their weight, how they transitioned between offensive and defensive positions. It was like studying the mechanical systems in the mines. Everything had a pattern once you looked close enough. The call came for her to enter the arena, walked through the tunnel, and the roar of the crowd hit her like a physical wall. It was louder than yesterday, more intense. She could feel the anticipation in the air. The announcer's hologram appeared above the arena floor. Welcome, beings of all species, to the continuation of our extraordinary exhibition. Yesterday, we witnessed the shocking defeat of War Master at the hands of the human. Today, they meet again under modified rules. This will be a full combat demonstration, with safety protocols in place but no restrictions on technique. The crowd roared its approval, walked to the center of the arena and took her position. She could see the diplomatic section where Ambassador Hayes and Commander Grant sat watching. Gave her a thumbs up from the stands. Entered from the opposite tunnel. His armor had been repaired, though could see faint marks where she had shattered it yesterday. He moved differently today. There was no theatrical posing, no mockery. He walked with purpose and focus. They met in the center of the arena, looked down at her with his three eyes. Today we fight as warriors, not as performers. I will not hold back. Neither will I, replied. The arena official, the floating jellyfish being, drifted between them. The rules are as follows. Combat continues until one fighter yields, is rendered unconscious, or the safety systems determine serious injury risk. Lethal techniques are prohibited. All strikes must be controlled. Do you both understand? Yes, and said at the same time. Then begins. The official retreated quickly. Did not waste time. All four of his arms came at in a coordinated assault. High, low, middle, it was like fighting four opponents at once. Dodged and blocked, her smaller size working to her advantage. She could slip under strikes that would have hit a larger opponent. But was learning too. He adjusted his attacks, using his reach to keep at a distance. One of his hands caught her shoulder and pushed hard, felt herself sliding backward across the smooth floor. She used the momentum, rolling with it and coming back up at a different angle. Turned to track her, his three eyes giving him the advantage. He swept low with two arms while striking high with the other two. Jumped over the low sweep and twisted to avoid the high strikes. She was moving on pure instinct now, her body reacting faster than conscious thought. The crowd was going wild. Could hear them screaming in various alien languages, but she tuned it out. Focus on the opponent. Watch his weight distribution. Predict the next move. Was faster today, more aggressive. He pressed forward relentlessly, using all four arms to create a constant barrage. Gave ground, circling around him, looking for an opening. There. His front left arm was extending a fraction too far, leaving his side exposed. Darted in, getting inside his reach. She drove her fist into the exposed section where his arm joined his torso. Grunted but did not fall back. Instead, he wrapped all four arms around her, lifting her off the ground in a crushing bear hug. The pressure was immense, felt her ribs creaking under the force. The crowd was screaming, was squeezing harder, trying to force her to yield, could barely breathe, let alone talk. But she had been in crushers before. Mining equipment failed sometimes, and you had to get out before it flattened you, forced herself to stay calm. Panic used up oxygen you did not have. She relaxed her muscles slightly, making herself smaller, adjusted his grip to maintain pressure, which was exactly what she wanted. In that moment of adjustment struck. She brought her forehead forward in a sharp headbutt that caught right where his three eyes met. It was not elegant, but it worked. His grip loosened just enough. Twisted hard, using her flexibility to slip out of his hold. She dropped to the floor and rolled away, gasping for breath. Her ribs hurt badly, but nothing felt broken. Was holding his face with two hands, his eyes watering. But he was already recovering, lowering his hands and focusing on her again. He moved forward, but this time noticed something. He was favoring his right side slightly where she had hit the joint. She needed to end this before he wore her down. Charged forward, which surprised. Most opponents tried to avoid his superior reach. But was not most opponents. She ducked under his swinging arms and got in close, where his size became a disadvantage. Her fists worked in rapid combination. Left to the joint, right to the same spot. Again. She was not trying to break his armor this time. She was targeting the vulnerable connection point beneath it. Roared and tried to grab her, but was already moving. She slipped around to his side, staying in his blind spot that Tors had mentioned. Another series of strikes to the other arm joint, then the back of his knee. The big warrior stumbled. Could see him trying to turn and face her, but she kept moving, staying in positions where his size worked against him. It was like fighting the mining machines. Find the weak points, hit them repeatedly, and wait for the system to fail. His front left arm was hanging loose now, the joint too damaged to support proper movement. He was down to 3 effective arms, and his mobility was compromised by the knee strikes. But he was still dangerous, still fighting. He made a desperate lunge, trying to pin against the arena floor. Xian used his momentum to trip him. Went down hard, his armor clanging against the floor. Immediately moved to a submission position, her arm around his neck from behind. "Yield," she said quietly, applying just enough pressure to make her point. "You fought well, yield with honor." For a moment struggled, then she felt his body relax. "I yield," he said, his voice strained but clear. Released him immediately and stepped back. The arena erupted in noise. Some aliens were cheering, others were arguing, a few looked stunned into silence. Slowly got to his feet, holding his damaged arm. He turned to face, and to her surprise, he brought all 4 hands to his chest in a formal salute. Then he did something that shocked everyone in the arena. He knelt down on one knee, lowering his head. "You are a true warrior," said loudly enough for everyone to hear. "I spoke in ignorance yesterday. I mocked your species without understanding. Today you have taught me respect." He raised his head and looked it directly. Honor to humanity." Did not know what to say. She settled for offering her hand to help him up, looked at the hand for a moment, then took it with one of his own. She pulled, and he stood, wincing from his injuries. The medical teams rushed in to check both fighters. His ribs were badly bruised but not broken. Had joint damage that would take several days to heal even with advanced medical care. As they were being treated, other aliens began approaching. A tall, slender being with blue skin and elaborate head crest stepped forward, recognized the species from yesterday. "I am Striker of the Combat Academy," the alien said in a melodic voice. "I watched your fight with great interest. Your technique is unusual but effective. You fight like water, flowing around obstacles rather than through them." "Thank you," said, not sure how else to respond. "I wonder," continued, "if you would be willing to share knowledge, a training exchange. You teach us about human combat methods, we teach you about ours." Before could answer, another alien spoke up. This one was short and stocky with rock-like skin. "The Granite clans would also like to propose an exchange. We have much to learn from each other." More voices joined in. Within minutes was surrounded by aliens from half a dozen species, all asking questions or proposing partnerships. She felt overwhelmed and looked toward the diplomatic section for help. Ambassador Hayes was already making her way down to the arena floor with Commander Grant. They smoothly took control of the situation, directing the aliens to schedule formal meetings through proper diplomatic channels. His arm, now in some kind of healing brace, approached one more time. "Before I leave for medical treatment, I want to say something. When a warrior proves themselves superior, we offer them knowledge as tribute. If you face opponents in future matches, I can teach you what I know of their fighting styles. This information may help you." Was surprised by the offer. "Why would you help me?" "Because yesterday you showed mercy by choosing a non-lethal target. Today you gave me the chance to yield with honor. These actions speak to your character. I misjudged your species. The least I can do is help you represent humanity well in whatever comes next." Looked around at all the aliens surrounding them. "And I think much is coming next. You have made humanity visible. That visibility will bring both opportunities and challenges." "I accept your offer," said, "Thank you." Nodded and allowed the medics to lead him away. Watched him go, reflecting on how much had changed in just 2 days. She had come to this station as a nobody, just another Marine on a diplomatic mission. Now she was becoming something else entirely, though she was not sure exactly what yet. Ambassador Hayes appeared at her side. "Well done, Lieutenant. You have given humanity a significant advantage in the diplomatic arena. Multiple species now view us as potential allies rather than curiosities." "Ma'am, I was just fighting. I did not think about diplomacy." Hayes smiled. "The best diplomacy often happens when people are not thinking about it. You showed respect, skill, and honor. Those qualities transcend species and language. They are universal values." She paused, her expression becoming more serious. "But I need to warn you. Not everyone is happy about what you have demonstrated. There are species who preferred it when humanity seemed weak and non-threatening. Some of them may see you as a problem to be solved. Felt a chill run down her spine. Are you saying I am in danger? I am saying be careful, stay alert, and remember that you are not alone. You have your fellow Marines, your commanders, and the full support of the diplomatic corps. Hayes looked around the arena. Things are moving faster than anyone expected. We need to stay ahead of them. The next few hours were a blur. Gave statements to arena officials. She attended a brief medical examination. She sat through a debriefing with Grant and the intelligence staff. By the time she finally made it back to her quarters on the USS Horizon, she was exhausted. But sleep would not come easily. Lay in her bunk and thought about everything that had happened. About SWORDs. About the aliens who wanted to learn from her. About Ambassador Hayes' warning. She thought about her family back on Mining Colony 7, working the heavy machines and breathing recycled air. They had no idea that their little sister was becoming famous across the galaxy. Her comm device beeped. A message from Tors. FYI, the Galactic News Networks picked up footage of your fight. You are trending on 17 different species media platforms. Also, we have confirmed interest from 23 more species wanting to schedule meetings or exchanges. This is getting big. Closed her eyes and let out a long breath. Big was an understatement. She had wanted to defend humanity's honor. Instead, she had started something much larger than herself. Now she had to see it through wherever it led. 2 weeks passed on Nexus Prime and fell into a strange new routine. Each morning she trained with Sergeant. Each afternoon she met with representatives from various alien species, learning about their cultures and combat techniques. Each evening she studied briefings from Lieutenant Tors about galactic politics and potential threats. The exhibition matches had ended, but the attention had not. Had fought 3 more demonstrations against different species champions. She had won 2 and earned a respectful draw in the 3rd. More importantly, she had done it all without seriously injuring anyone, which seemed to impress the aliens almost as much as her fighting ability. The USS Horizon remained docked at the station, while Ambassador Hayes negotiated a series of trade agreements and defensive pacts. Humanity was no longer seen as weak, which opened doors that had been closed before. But it also attracted the wrong kind of attention. Was in the station's training facility, working through a practice routine with punching bags designed for different species' strength levels, when Commander Grant found her. "We have a problem," he said without preamble. "The Dominion has sent a formal communication to Nexus Prime. They are demanding what they call a true combat trial." Stopped punching and grabbed a towel to wipe the sweat from her face. "What is a true combat trial?" "It is a tradition. When they want to test a potential enemy, they send one of their best warriors to fight in single combat. It is supposed to be a measure of worth. In practice, it is usually a way to humiliate or eliminate threats before they become real problems." Grant's expression was grim. "They specifically named you as the human they want to face." "Why me?" "Because you are visible. You have become the face of human combat capability. If they defeat you, especially if they do it brutally, it sends a message that humans are not as dangerous as we seem." Grant paused. "And there is another factor. Intelligence suggests they have been eyeing human colony worlds for potential expansion. This trial might be their way of gauging whether we are worth invading." Felt her stomach tighten. "So if I lose, they attack humanity." "It is not that simple, but yes, essentially. The respect strength above all else. If you lose badly, they will see humanity as weak prey. If you win, they might back off, or they might see us as a threat worth destroying. Either way, this trial matters." "What if I refuse to fight?" Grant shook his head. "Then they will claim humanity is cowardly. It might be worse than losing. At least a loss in combat can be blamed on individual failure. Refusing to fight is cultural failure in their eyes." Sat down on a nearby bench. This was bigger than arena demonstrations or diplomatic exhibitions. This was about the safety of human worlds, about people she would never meet who were counting on her without even knowing it. "When do they want this trial?" she asked quietly. 3 days from now. They are sending their champion, a warrior called Warlord. He has killed 4 opponents in previous trials. The claim those deaths were accidental, but no one believes that. Looked up at Grant. "You are telling me this could be a fight to the death?" "Yes, the trial rules are brutal. Combat continues until one fighter cannot continue. There are no safety protocols, no medical intervention until after the fight ends." Grant sat down beside her. "No one will think less of you if you want to refuse. This is beyond what we asked of you, beyond what anyone should ask." For a long moment, said nothing. She thought about her family on mining colony 7, about the other colonies scattered across human space, about all the people just trying to live their lives, working hard, raising families, never thinking about alien invasions or galactic politics. "I will do it," she finally said. "But I need to prepare, really prepare. This is not like the exhibition matches." Grant nodded slowly. "I will make sure you have everything you need. Tors is already compiling intelligence on and combat methods, and you have another resource, wants to help." That surprised, he does. He has been asking about you regularly. When he heard about the challenge, he contacted the ambassador directly. He says he owes you a debt of honor and wants to help you prepare. Grant stood up. "He is waiting in conference room 7 if you want to talk to him." Grabbed her things and headed to the conference room. Was there, his arm still in a healing brace but looking much better than 2 weeks ago. With him was Stryker, the warrior she had met after their second fight. Greeted her with his four-handed salute. "I heard about the challenge. This is grave news. Commander Grant said you wanted to help." "I do. They are dangerous opponents. I have fought against them in border conflicts. They are fast, vicious, and they use cybernetic enhancements to augment their natural abilities." Gestured to. "Stryker has also faced warriors. We thought our combined knowledge might help you." Stepped forward. "The believe that technology is just another form of strength. Warlord will have enhanced reflexes, reinforced bones, possibly implanted weapons. He will be stronger and faster than any natural opponent you have faced." Felt the weight of the challenge settling on her shoulders. "How do I fight someone like that?" "By being human," said simply. "They are predictable. They rely on their enhancements, which makes them overconfident. They expect opponents to be intimidated. They do not adapt well when their standard tactics fail." Over the next hour, and shared everything they knew about combat methods. Listened carefully, asking questions and taking mental notes. The preferred direct assault, using their enhanced speed to overwhelm opponents before they could develop counter-strategies. They aimed for quick, brutal victories that reinforced their reputation. "The key is surviving the initial assault," explained. "If you can weather the first minute, will start to doubt. That doubt will make him angry. Angry fighters make mistakes." When the briefing ended, thanked them both. As they were leaving, turned back. "One more thing. Among the showing fear is seen as admission of defeat, but showing respect for the combat itself is different. If you can make believe you see him as a worthy opponent rather than a monster, it might throw him off balance. He will expect you to be afraid." Nodded. "I understand. Thank you for everything." After they left, went to find Lieutenant Tors to get the full intelligence briefing on Warlord. The information was not encouraging. Stood 8 feet tall with extensive cybernetic modifications. His bones were reinforced with metal alloys. His muscles were augmented with synthetic fibers. He had retractable blades in his forearms and enhanced optics in his eyes. "He is basically a living weapon," Tors said flatly. "Are you sure about this?" "No," admitted, "but I am doing it anyway." That evening, used the long-range comm to call home. It took almost 10 minutes to establish the connection, but finally her mother's face appeared on the screen. "Is everything all right?" "Everything is fine, Mom. I just wanted to talk." Smiled, trying to seem casual. "How is everyone?" They talked about normal things. Her sister's baby was walking now. Her brother had been promoted to shift supervisor. Her father was thinking about retiring next year. Normal, everyday life happening millions of miles away while sat on an alien space station preparing for a fight that could determine humanity's fate. "What is wrong?" her mother asked suddenly. "You have that look, the one you get when something is bothering you." Considered lying. Then she thought about what it said about honor. "I have a difficult assignment coming up. I cannot talk about the details, but I wanted to hear your voice before I do it." Her mother's expression grew serious. "Are you going to be safe?" "I am going to do my best. That is all anyone can do, right? You taught me that." "We also taught you to know when to ask for help. You do not have to carry everything alone." "I know, Mom. I have good people here supporting me. I will be okay." Hope that was true. "I love you. Tell everyone I love them." "We love you too, sweetheart. Come home safe." After the call ended, sat in the quiet of her quarters for a long time. She thought about her family, about the mines, about the life she had left behind to join the Marines. She had wanted to see the galaxy, to be part of something bigger than herself. Well, she had certainly achieved that. Now she just had to survive it. The next 2 days were intense. Trained constantly, working with on-speed drills and defensive techniques. She studied footage of warriors fighting, learning their patterns and tendencies. She even visited the station's meditation gardens where she met an old sage named Harmonizer. They were a peaceful species, tall and ethereal with bioluminescent skin that glowed softly. Had been observing the exhibition matches from the beginning and had asked to speak with. "You carry great weight," said in a voice like wind chimes. "Not just physical strength, but responsibility, the burden of representation." "I did not ask for this," said. "I just wanted to defend my species' honor." "And in doing so, you became a symbol. That is the nature of visible action. It creates meaning beyond intention." His glow pulsed gently. "They are testing you, yes, but they are also testing themselves. They need to know if humanity is prey or predator. Answer that question wrongly and they will attack. Answer it correctly and they might become allies." "How do I answer it correctly?" "By being true to what humanity is. Not prey, not predator, something else, something they do not expect." Placed a glowing hand on his shoulder. "You have shown mercy to defeated opponents. You have shared knowledge instead of hoarding it. You have fought with honor instead of cruelty. These are not the actions of prey or predator. They are the actions of something greater." Thought about those words that night as she lay in her bunk. What was humanity, really? They were not the strongest species in the galaxy, not the or the fastest, but they survived. They adapted. They helped each other. Maybe that was the answer. The morning of the trial arrived too quickly. Woke before dawn and went through her preparation routine. Physical warm-up, mental focus exercises, equipment check. She ate a simple breakfast, nothing too heavy. Then she put on her combat uniform and headed to the arena. The atmosphere was completely different from the exhibition matches. The crowd was larger and quieter, an air of anticipation hanging over everything. Could see diplomats from dozens of species in the viewing sections. Human ships had arrived in the system, though they remained at a distance per the trial rules. No outside interference was allowed. In the preparation area, found Ambassador Hayes, Commander Grant, Sergeant, and Lieutenant Torres all waiting for her. "How are you feeling?" Hayes asked. "Ready," said. It was not entirely true, but it was true enough. Grant stepped forward and handed her a small item. It was a patch, the insignia of Mining Colony 7. "Your family sent this. They wanted you to have something from home." Felt her throat tighten. She carefully attached the patch to her uniform. "Thank you." Gave her a fierce hug. "You are the toughest person I know. Go show that cybernetic freak what humans are made of." Torres handed her a final data summary. "Last-minute intel, has a habit of starting fights with a charging rush. If you can avoid it, he gets frustrated. Use that." The call came for her to enter the arena. She took a deep breath and walked toward the tunnel. As she did, she heard voices calling out. She turned and saw an Striker standing with several other alien warriors she had met over the past weeks. "Honor and victory," called out, all four hands raised. "Fight well, small warrior," added. Nodded to them and walked into the tunnel. The roar of the crowd grew louder with each step. This was it. Everything she had done, everything she had learned, everything she was, came down to this moment. She emerged into the light of the arena and walked toward the center. Across from her, Warlord entered from the opposite side. He was exactly as terrifying as the intelligence reports had described. 8 feet of metal-reinforced muscle and synthetic enhancement. His eyes glowed with cybernetic implants. Retractable blades gleamed in his forearms. They met in the center of the arena, looked down at her with something like amusement. "You are the human everyone fears? You are tiny, weak. I will break you in seconds and show the galaxy that humanity is nothing." Looked up at him calmly. "Then let us begin and see if you are right." The arena official stepped between them. "This is a combat trial. No holds barred, no safety protocols. Fight until one cannot continue. Lethal force is permitted but not required. Do you both understand?" Came at like a freight train, exactly as Torres had predicted. His cybernetically enhanced legs ate up the distance between them in less than 2 seconds. Most opponents would have frozen or tried to block. Did neither. She moved sideways at the last possible moment, using her smaller size and lower center of gravity to change direction faster than could adjust. His momentum carried him past her, and she heard his frustrated snarl as he skidded to a stop. The crowd erupted in surprised chatter, spun around, his glowing eyes fixing on with new intensity. He had expected an easy victory. Now he had to actually work for it. He came at her again, but this time he was more controlled. His blades extended from his forearms with a metallic hiss, backpedaled, keeping distance between them. She could see him analyzing her movements, trying to predict her patterns. Feinted left, then struck right. The blade came within inches of space. She could feel the displaced air. She countered with a quick jab to his midsection, testing his defenses. Her fist hit reinforced muscle and cybernetic plating. It was like punching a metal wall. Laughed, "You cannot hurt me, human. My body is perfected, enhanced beyond your primitive biology." Did not waste breath responding. She was studying him, looking for weaknesses. The cybernetics made him strong and fast, but they also made him predictable. Machines followed programming. Even enhanced muscles moved in specific ways determined by their construction. She continued her defensive pattern, dodging and weaving, was getting frustrated. She could see it in how his attacks became slightly wider, slightly more aggressive. He was used to opponents who either ran in fear or attacked in desperation. Was doing neither. "Fight me," roared, "or are all humans cowards?" Saw her opening. She had been waiting for him to overcommit. When his next blade strike came, she did not dodge away. She moved in, getting inside his reach where the long blades were less effective. Her elbow caught him in the throat, not hard enough to crush his windpipe, but enough to make him gag. Stumbled back, one hand going to his throat. His eyes showed surprise. She had actually hurt him. Pressed the advantage. She was faster than him in close quarters. Her fists worked in combination, targeting joints and connection points where cybernetics met organic tissue. These were the weak spots, the places where even the best enhancements had to interface with biology. But was not finished. He backhanded with enough force to send her flying. She hit the arena floor hard, rolling to disperse the impact. Pain exploded in her shoulder where his hand had connected. She forced herself up immediately. Staying down meant losing. Touched his throat where she had struck him, his fingers coming away wet. He was bleeding, not much, but enough. His expression shifted from amusement to anger. "You will pay for that, human." He activated something in his cybernetics. Could hear servos whining as his enhancements went into overdrive. He became faster, strong enough that each movement created small shockwaves in the air. This was the true power of combat technology. The next exchange was brutal. Dodged most of the strikes, but the ones that connected hurt badly. His blade caught her leg, opening a gash that immediately started bleeding. Another strike glanced off her ribs, and she felt something crack. The crowd was on its feet now, the noise deafening. Could taste blood in her mouth. Her vision was starting to blur at the edges, was grinning, confident in his impending victory. Thought about her father's words from long ago. Pain means you are still fighting. As long as you feel pain, you can still win. She changed tactics. Instead of trying to avoid all his strikes, she started trading damage. When came in for a blade strike, took it on her armored shoulder guard while delivering a devastating punch to his knee joint. When he tried to grab her, she let him catch her arm while using the leverage to drive her other fist into the cybernetic interface at his elbow. It was not elegant, it was not safe, but it was effective, was damaging his enhancements, making them work against him. Every joint she damaged reduced his mobility. Every interface she struck created feedback in his systems. Realized what she was doing and tried to adapt, but it was too late. His left knee was compromised. His right elbow was malfunctioning. The perfected body he had bragged about was breaking down under sustained, precise assault. He roared in frustration and charged again, putting everything into one massive strike. Both blade arms came at from different angles. There was no dodging this one. If she tried, he would just adjust and catch her anyway. So did not dodge. She stepped forward into the attack. The blades missed her by millimeters as she got inside their arc. She was pressed against his chest now, too close for him to use his weapons effectively. And in that moment, with all his attention on his blade strike, saw what she had been looking for. The primary cybernetic interface was at the base of his skull, where the spinal enhancements connected to his brain. It was protected, but not perfectly. There was a small gap in the armor plating to allow for neck movement. Jumped, using his own body as a platform. Her hand found the interface port, and she struck it with all the force she could generate. Not with her fist. That would have broken her hand. Instead, she used her palm in a sharp upward strike, the same technique she had used in the mines to jar stuck machinery. His entire body went rigid. Sparks flew from the interface port. His cybernetic systems, flooded with feedback from the impact, began shutting down in cascade failure. His enhanced muscles seized up. His glowing eyes flickered. He fell to his knees, his body twitching as it fought to reboot its systems, stepped back, breathing hard. Blood was running down her leg from the blade cut. Her ribs screamed with every breath. Her shoulder felt like it was on fire. But she was standing, was not. The arena had gone silent. Everyone was watching to see what would happen next. In tradition, had the right to finish him. She had won the trial. One final strike would end it permanently. Walked around to face. His eyes were clearing now, his systems starting to come back online. He looked up at her, and for the first time there was fear in his expression. He expected death. Stood there for a long moment, looking down at the warlord who had threatened her species. She thought about everything Harmonizer had said, about being something other than prey or predator, about humanity's true strength. She extended her hand, stared at the offered hand like it was a weapon. "What are you doing?" "Helping you up," said simply. "The fight is over, you lost, but you fought well. There is no honor in killing a defeated opponent." "I would have killed you," said, confusion evident in his voice. "I know, but I am not you, and humanity is not the Dominion," kept her hand extended. "Strength is not about who you can destroy, it is about who you choose to protect. It is about knowing when to fight and when to show mercy." For a moment nothing happened. The entire arena held its breath, then slowly reached up and took his hand. She pulled and he stood. His cybernetics were still malfunctioning, making his movements jerky and unstable. But he was upright. He looked at with an expression she could not quite read. "I do not understand you," he said quietly. "I challenged your species, I tried to kill you, why would you help me?" "Because that is what humans do. We fight when we have to, but when the fight is over, we help, we build, we move forward together." Looked around at the watching crowd. "We would rather have allies than corpses." The silence broke. A slow clapping started from somewhere in the diplomatic section. It spread, growing louder. Alien species that had been enemies for generations found themselves applauding together. Even some of the delegation were making gestures that might have been approval. The arena medical teams rushed forward. They treated wounds first since she was still standing. The blade cut in her leg needed sealing. Her ribs were cracked but not broken. Her shoulder was badly bruised, nothing that would not heal given time. Cybernetics were a bigger problem. The cascade failure had damaged several key systems. The medics worked on him for several minutes while stood nearby, refusing to leave until she knew he would be okay. Finally, the head medic approached her. "Warlord will recover. His organic systems are intact. The cybernetic damage is extensive but repairable. You struck with remarkable precision. Any harder and you might have killed him. Any softer and you would not have stopped him." Nodded, relieved. She had not wanted to kill anyone, not even someone who had been trying to kill her. The delegation approached. They were tall, lean creatures with sharp features and cold eyes. The leader, wearing elaborate armor that marked him as high-ranking, stopped in front of. "I am War Chief of the Dominion. I came here expecting to witness human defeat. Instead, I have seen something unexpected." He glanced at who was being helped to his feet by medics. "You defeated our champion. By our laws, that gives you the right to make demands of our people." Was exhausted and in pain, but she forced herself to think clearly. This was the moment that mattered. What she said next would determine how they viewed humanity going forward. "I have only one demand," she said. "Stop seeing humanity as prey. We are not weak and we are not afraid, but we are also not your enemies. We could be your allies if you choose to see us that way." Studied her for a long moment. "You fight with the strength of a but the mercy of a—" He paused, searching for words. "I do not know what to call it. It is not a quality our species values." "Maybe it should be," said. "Strength without mercy is just violence. Violence makes enemies. Mercy makes friends. Which would you rather have?" Another long pause, then made a gesture with his hands that's translator identified as a sign of respect. "The Dominion withdraws its territorial interest in human space. We will contact your ambassador to discuss potential alliance. You have earned this through combat, which is the only currency we respect." He turned and left with his delegation, watched them go, hoping she had made the right choice. Only time would tell. Ambassador Hayes appeared at his side, looking shocked but pleased. Do you have any idea what you just did? They have been a threat to at least 6 different species. If they honor this agreement, it could reshape the entire sector's balance of power. I just wanted to protect humanity, said quietly. Is that enough? More than enough. You are a hero, Lieutenant. Shook her head. I am just a Marine who did her job. Over the next hour, representatives from multiple species approached. Some offered defensive pacts. Others requested military training exchanges. A few simply wanted to shake her hand and express their respect. Appeared, moving carefully with his healing arm. You listened to my advice about honor and respect, but more than that, you understood something I did not teach you, that mercy is its own form of strength. Stryker was with him. The Combat Academy would like to offer you a position as an instructor. We have much to learn from human fighting philosophy. Thanked them, but said she needed time to think about the future. Right now, she just wanted to rest. Back aboard the USS Horizon, finally allowed herself to collapse. The ship's doctor, Helen Brooks, personally oversaw her treatment. You are lucky, Brooks said while working on injuries. The blade cut missed the major blood vessels by millimeters. The rib damage could have been much worse, and that shoulder is going to hurt for weeks. Worth it, muttered. Probably, but let someone else be the hero for a while, okay? Give yourself time to heal. Spent the next 3 days in medical recovery. During that time, the news of her victory spread across the galaxy. Footage of the fight went viral on 17 different species media networks. Her decision to help up instead of killing him became a symbol of human values. Commander Grant visited with reports. The diplomatic fallout from your fight has been extraordinary. We have received formal alliance requests from 9 species. They have not only withdrawn their territorial claims, but have proposed a joint security agreement. Even species that were previously hostile to humanity are requesting dialogue. All because I want to fight. All because you want to fight and then showed mercy. You proved humanity is strong enough to be dangerous, but wise enough not to be cruel. That is a rare combination in galactic politics, Grant smiled. You have done more for humanity standing in 2 months than decades of traditional diplomacy accomplished. On the 4th day, was cleared to return to light duty. She immediately went to the observation deck to look out at the stars. She was standing there when Sergeant found her. Hey, famous person, how does it feel to be the most well-known human in the galaxy? Groaned, terrible. I just want to go back to regular Marine work. Too late for that, you are a symbol now. Better get used to it. Stood beside her, also looking out at the stars. You know what the weird thing is? You did not change at all. You are still just from mining Colony 7, but everyone else's view of humanity changed completely. Maybe that is the point, said thoughtfully. We did not need to change, we just needed to be seen clearly. Her comm device beeped, a message from home. Opened it and saw her entire family crowded in front of the camera. Her mother was crying happy tears. Her father looked proud. Her brothers were grinning. Her sister was holding up the baby, who was wearing a tiny Marine uniform. We saw the fight, said excitedly. You used the technique I taught you, the double strike. You made the whole colony proud, her father added. Made the whole species proud. Felt her own eyes getting wet. I just did what you taught me. Work hard, do not give up, help others when you can. Those are good lessons, her mother said. Never forget them, no matter how famous you get. They talked for another 15 minutes before had to go. She closed the comm and stood quietly, thinking about everything that had happened. A message came through from Ambassador Hayes. There was going to be a formal ceremony in 3 days where would receive commendations from both the human government and several alien civilizations. Then she would have the option of continuing diplomatic work or returning to regular military service. Knew what her choice would be. She was a Marine, not a diplomat. She belonged with her unit doing the work she had trained for. Let others handle the politics and ceremonies. She had done her part. But first, she had one more thing to do. Made her way to the medical wing where Warlord was still recovering. His cybernetics had been repaired enough for him to move around, though he would need months of rehabilitation. He looked up when entered, surprise evident on his face. The human comes to visit her defeated enemy. You are not my enemy, not anymore, sat down in a chair beside his bed. I wanted to see how you were doing. Was quiet for a moment. My people do not understand what you did. They think you are weak for showing mercy. But I was there. I looked into your eyes. You are not weak. You chose mercy not because you had to, but because you could. That is a different kind of strength. Will you tell them that? I will try. Change comes slowly to but perhaps seeing their champion defeated and then helped by the same hand will make them think differently. He looked at directly. I owe you my life. By my people's customs, that creates a bond. If you ever need assistance, call for me. I will come. Nodded, thank you. And if you ever need help, humanity will remember that you fought honorably. They talked for a few more minutes before left. As she walked back to her quarters, she felt lighter somehow. The weight of responsibility was still there, but it felt more manageable now. The ceremony 3 days later was overwhelming. Stood on a platform in front of thousands of beings from dozens of species. She received medals, commendations, and formal thanks from representatives across the galaxy. Speeches were made praising human courage and wisdom. Through it all, kept thinking about home, about the mines and the heavy gravity and the simple life she had left behind. She wondered if she would ever be able to go back to that simplicity, or if she had changed too much. After the ceremony made her decision official, she would return to the USS Horizon and continue her service as a regular Marine. She turned down the instructor positions, the diplomatic posts, and the various prestigious offers. She just wanted to be herself. Commander Grant was not surprised. I knew you would choose this. You are a soldier at heart, not a politician. Is that okay? Will humanity be disappointed? Humanity will be fine. You have shown the galaxy who we are. That is enough. The rest of us can handle the follow-up work. Grant handed her new orders. You are being assigned to a joint species security force. Humans working alongside and others. Think of it as the next step in everything you started. Took the orders and smiled. That sounds perfect. The USS Horizon departed Nexus Prime a week later. Stood in the observation deck one last time, watching the massive station shrink in the distance. Sergeant joined her. No regrets, he asked. None, said. I did what needed doing. Now it is time to move forward. Think you will ever have another fight like that? One that matters so much? Thought about the question. I hope not, but if I do, I will face it the same way I faced everything else. One step at a time, one fight at a time, that is all anyone can do. As the ship jumped to faster-than-light travel, his last thought was about a message she had received from an unexpected source. Harmonizer had written to her with simple words that would stay with her forever. You were asked what humans are, not prey, not predators. You showed them the answer. Humans are protectors. They fight when needed. They show mercy when possible. They build bridges instead of walls. That is the strength that will carry your species to greatness among the stars. Smiled and headed back to her quarters. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new missions, new opportunities to represent humanity. But tonight, she was just Lieutenant from Mining Colony 7, a Marine doing her job. And that was exactly who she wanted to be. Yes, said. Yes, growled. Then let the trial begin. The official retreated, smiled, showing teeth that had been sharpened to points, stood her ground, focusing on her breathing, on her training, on everything that had brought her to this moment. This was for humanity, for her family, for every person who had ever been underestimated because of their size. Charged. Her last thought before finally falling asleep was of her brother's advice from all those years ago. Hit the same spot twice. Find the weakness, then exploit it. It had worked on bullies and mining equipment and alien warriors. Maybe it would work on whatever challenges came next. One fight at a time, one day at a time. That was all anyone could do, whether they were breaking rocks in a mine or representing their entire species to the galaxy. Made her way back to her quarters and lay down on her bunk. Her hand throbbed with each heartbeat. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new fights, new tests. But for now, she was just a girl from the mining colonies who had somehow become the face of humanity to the galaxy. She closed her eyes and thought of home, of the heavy gravity and the endless work and the family that had made her strong. Whatever came next, she would face it the same way she had faced everything else in her life. One punch at a time. Turned to face the crowd. She spoke clearly so everyone could hear. This is human strength. We come from a world with heavy gravity and dangerous predators. We have survived ice ages and plagues and wars. We may not look like much to you, but we are stronger than we appear, and we never give up. In the diplomatic section, Sargent was on his feet cheering. Grant was smiling despite himself. Even Ambassador Hayes looked impressed. Finally caught his breath. He straightened up slowly, still holding his injured ribs. He looked at with new eyes, and the mockery was gone from his expression. The arena erupted into chaos as aliens from dozens of species began talking at once. Some demanded to know if had used forbidden technology. Others wanted to study human physiology. A few species, champions quietly from their own planned demonstrations, just stood there in the center of the arena, a small human woman who had just changed how the galaxy would see her species forever.